Hey YouTube, Louis here, and it's Sunday, and I'm doing a little analysis of the silver price versus the S&P 500. And while I'm doing that, I'm taking a look at these beautiful Type 1 Silver Eagles from 2021, the last moment that they produced the most beautiful heraldic design, low mintage year. But I'm going to get on to the story here. So I was doing this for myself, and I thought you might like to see it as well. I'm comparing the S&P 500 to the spot price of silver for the last year. And you may recall in April of this year, we had a pretty significant market sell off. In April 2025, the stock market experienced a significant downturn due to the widespread panic selling triggered by President Trump's announcement of sweeping tariffs on various sectors of the U.S. economy. This triggered a global market decline and in the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 entering correction territory, and the Nasdaq falling into a bear market. All right, so let's go back and look at the S&P 500 chart. And of course, there's new rhetoric coming out of Washington about tariffs, but I don't think that is taken quite as seriously as it was back in April. But nonetheless, if this market continues to roll over, what would happen to silver? And well, it's kind of a mixed bag as it always is. But we've had the S&P go from making new highs down to quite a good sell-off here recently. And the question is, if that continues, if we are, entering into a correction phase, or maybe something even worse, of the S&P 500 like we did in April 2025, what could happen to silver? All right, well, let's go back to the silver spot chart. And here we are back in April 2025. And silver was sitting pretty, making new highs until right around April 1st. And then the S&P started selling off along with that tariff news. And spot price, let's see if I can get the price here. Spot price went from 33.88 all the way down to 29.58. And that, of course, was a great buying opportunity. So 33 to 29, something like that, about $4, while the S&P fell from 564 down to 496. Oh, what is that? 20% maybe, something like that. So that is the question here. Are we entering another April 2025 scenario, which could bring silver prices down as much as $3, $4, $5, which would take us from 37 down to probably 32, another pretty good level of support. Now, I actually don't think so. I think on the, of course, silver is doing very well, having nearly reached 40 and now sitting at 37 and trying to bounce from a higher low. That I think is the more likely scenario. But if the S&P, if the S&P continues to roll over as it sometimes does over this period of time, and retrace, a solid 20% or 10, 15%, that could impact the price of silver. So that is what I'm worried about this weekend. I think I'll be taking my cue from the S&P and see if we get a significant bounce here. Again, I do think we will bounce, although that bounce may be dampened by the weakening labor report. So weak, in fact, that Trump fired the head of labor statistics. Didn't like the numbers, and well, that guy is gone. But I don't know that that has any impact on anything. But it could worry the market a little bit. Anyway, I think that's what I'll be doing Sunday night, Monday morning, is watching futures, and we're going to need a bounce in here on the S&P. If we continue down, then it could be bad for silver. And again, going back, when that happened, of course, that wasn't the end for silver. Back in April of 25, when it was 33 bucks, it took that $4 haircut and then continued, immediately stair-stepped back up to 32, 32.50, 33. And then we got above that all-important 34 level, and then we were in the 35s and continued moving over the 35s. A lot of support at 35, and then of course we were testing 40. So I still think for the moment we're in this range, kind of 36 to 39, but we'll have to see what happens next. I think I'm going to take my cue from the stock market. So that's all I have for you. I don't know if that helps you in any way or just makes you worry about the price of silver. But, we do have gold on new geopolitical threats, saber rattling. We do have gold moving higher, and GSR back up over 90. So, but gold should continue to pull silver up, but the S&P 500 could pull silver down. Now, what happened to gold in April of 2025? All right, here is the spot price of gold, and currently sitting at 33.62. But in April of 25, let's see, gold was started about 3,114. Okay, so not that far from where it is now. But when the dip hit, it took a dip down to 2,981. So 3,130 to 2,980. 150 points, something like that. Gold holding in much more steadily during that period, and when recovery happened, it recovered immediately and then went all the way back to 34.24. So gold being the much more stable asset, and therefore I would think that gold would not take the hit, the serious hit that silver would, that could bring that GSR back up to 100 possibly. Which again would be a great time to trade out gold for silver. But yeah, I don't know. Gold not participating in that sell-off. So I think that would be the takeaway. Weak stock market has equaled weak silver prices. No, let me say this differently. Very weak stock market has equaled weak silver prices. And a very weak stock market has not impacted gold that much. So we're just going to have to watch that S&P 500 and see what happens on Monday. We could easily get a correction in here, but then again, the market is still bullish, and dip buyers have been rewarded. So I think if we consolidate here on the S&P within this range, I think silver moves higher. If S&P moves higher, I think silver also moves higher. And but if we get that big push down, I think you want to watch the price of silver. You may want to raise a little cash here until we figure out what's going on. All right, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. And there is always recovery in the silver market and the gold market after dips. You really don't have to wait long for those prices to come back up and start making new highs. And I don't think we're anywhere near done with this rally. But there are short-term factors that do influence these prices, and if you're looking for an entry point, maybe you'll get a cheaper entry point here in the near future, and maybe you won't. I wish I knew. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend, and if you like this video, thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. Get over to my website, bestsilvergolddeals.com, if you want to find the best prices anywhere on the internet, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great Sunday.